All right, welcome back, guys, to another episode of A Hustler's Mindset. This is Nick and Adam, and we're bringing you guys another episode this week, and we're going to talk about two different topics, and then we're going to do a couple of Q&A questions that we got. But the main two things we want to talk about is first, I get this question a lot, and it's why should we hire a company like yours or any other company like yours to do this service, to help credit repair, to fix your credit? Why can't we just do it ourselves? There's a lot of, I see everyone's like, oh, there's a ton of YouTube videos out there. I can just send this quote unquote letter in, a 609 letter, and I can do it myself. Why do I have to pay you for your services? What do I get with it? And what guarantee do I have that my credit's safe with you? And I get these questions a lot. So obviously Adam is more versed in this than I am. I'm very new to this still, but I am learning and absorbing a lot along the way. And we both have a lot of insight on why you should hire a company that you trust to do credit repair. The first thing I want to talk about is the most common question is this quote unquote letter that everyone could just send in and supposedly remove derogatory credit off your credit. Adam, let's touch base on that first. Why it's not really the best way to approach negative credit, derogatory credit, and just like talk about that whole letter thing that everyone keeps talking about.
Yeah, so guys, welcome back. A lot of questions that both Nick and I have been getting are why do we need to hire you? Why can't we do this ourselves? And a lot of you can, but the results are going to vary, right? And what you see individuals that are doing to repair their own credit is they're sending out these basic letters. They're called 609 letters. And this method is what a lot of credit repair companies are doing also. And these letters are highly accessible across the internet. You can download them, and they're generic. And basically, all you're doing is filling in your name and the account that you're trying to dispute, right?
Right.
So you're sending these letters out to the bureaus, and possibly the account might be removed, right?
Right.
But almost 100% of the time, that account's going to come back. Right?
Right.
Almost 100% of the time. So there's a difference. There's a huge difference. Hiring a company like us, where we're using methods that are up to date, and not only do they work, but then what we do is we follow it a step further and we seal it with the courts. So what that means is that account that we remove, right, that derogatory delinquent account is no longer coming back.
Right.
So that's the big difference, which is a huge difference. We're talking about results, right? So people, it comes to apples and oranges. People want to juggle prices around, right? And they say, well, why do I got to pay you $1,000 or $2,500? When I can go down the block and Joe Schmo, right? We use the term Joe Schmo again. He's selling the credit repair for $500. Well,
Right.
you're going to pay a lawyer $500, or you're going to pay somebody who does a better job, but they still call themselves a lawyer, and they're going to charge $1,000, right?
Right.
So just because everybody says they do the same thing, don't really do the same thing.
Yep.
Right.
Absolutely. I think the number, a big point to touch on with these letters as well, you got to remember that these forms that you're downloading off these websites or whoever someone gives it to you, or a company that doesn't do the work, you have to do it yourself. They're very generic, and we've noticed that a lot with a lot of companies. They're not specific to the actual credit company that you're trying to, approach and try to fix your credit with. And a lot of these credit companies like to see a reputable company represent them. So they're going to give those companies more respect, especially when you're fixing multiple things on your credit report, not just one. Like, listen, maybe if you have one thing to get off and it was a simple mistake, a 30-day late or something, maybe the letter might work and might be easy to fix. But when people come to us, they're not coming to us with one derogatory. They're coming to us with multiple negative issues, 30-day lates, bankruptcies. Like, there's a shit ton of stuff on their credit that needs to be removed. So it's much deeper than just filling out a form like these people preach to you and send it in and just it vanishes. If it was that easy, credit repair companies would not exist. There wouldn't be any, right? Because everyone would be like, oh, I'm just going to send a letter and it gets removed. And that would be the word of mouth. And that's just not reality when it comes to this type of business. It's a very hard business. It takes us months to get derogatory credit removed off people's credit. This is not an easy process. like I said, if it's a very simple process, like one thing, that's a different story. But nobody comes to us with one problem. It's multiple issues, years of late payments, years of bad credit, and that's not going to get removed in just a letter. I mean, credit companies are not going to give it up that easily, especially when you owe them thousands upon thousands of dollars, which most people do. And it's not a Sears credit card that was like $300, that you fucked up on when you're 18. Like this is serious stuff. And a letter is not going to get you out of your bankruptcies. A letter is not going to get you out of your student loans. Credit cards that you defaulted on, car loans you defaulted on. So the letter might work, like we said, in some scenarios, but you really need a real company to really attack and go after these credit companies for what you owe and defend you in your case, because it's not going to just be like, oh, I'm going to sign off, right? I mean, these things takes usually months. I mean, right? In most cases, most of these cases, they're going to take a while to come off.
For sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
I
case
mean,
by case basis. So obviously, the more severity of your account, more stubborn it could be, right? And each bureau is working at different speeds, especially now with, COVID.
right. You're looking at three bureaus.
Yeah, they're a lot
Yeah,
slower right now. So, um, you have Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax. They're going to run at their own speeds, and depending on the severity of the account, like I just said, it really determines how fast that account may come off.
yeah,
And we spoke about this last episode. If you have an account that is in collections for upwards of $10,000 or more, you can't
right.
really expect that account to be removed. And if it does,
Mm,
great. But um,
yeah,
the ch-
not for a piece of paper either.
yeah, the chances
It's
the
not.
chances are not as likely. We'll put it that way. So
Yeah,
we never guarantee results. It's actually illegal to guarantee results. And we spoke
right.
about this as well. Any company that you come across that is advertising that they do guarantee results is illegal. All right, so be careful.
Yeah, and when we get a client, and when I get a client, Adam gets a client, I tell them like we're gonna do our best. We can't promise results, but we're gonna do our best. There's not many cases where we're not able to help you, but there is some cases where we're not gonna be able to.
Yeah,
We'll do our best, and maybe we'll minimize the damage. That's for sure.
for sure. Yeah, we remove, I would say, on average, you know, 80-90% of these accounts, and we do it all day
Right.
long.
Right. Exactly.
But
Now, what about when people ask me, are they able to track what you guys are doing? I gave them a quick description on what we do and how we do it, but are they able to like watch, when you guys are sending? I mean, I know from my experience, but I want you just to tell the viewers, how it like basically how it goes down. Like when you have a profile, what are you able to see? Because you get letters in the mail, obviously, people from all the when you're trying to, fight your credit reports, they're going to get a lot of paperwork sent to your home. But you can actually see it on your profile, right? I mean, you can see everything that's going on
yeah,
when
for
they
sure.
file for drug,
And when clients sign up with us, which is as transparent as it gets, you
Yeah,
have complete access to your client portal, right? So when a
right.
client signs up, they create their own secure client access portal, right? And you know this firsthand.
Yep.
They're going to have access to their entire credit repair process. So they're going to see once the credit repair process begins, and then
Yep.
every 45 days, the team is going to go into the back end and update it for the client. So you'll be able to log in every 45 days and see those updates. And in those
Yep.
updates, you'll see exactly what accounts have been removed, and whatever's left from that first round will be disputed again in the second round. And they'll be able to
Right.
see in the second round what items are left, right? So say they had
Right.
10 derogatory accounts and to start. 45 days later, they log back into their secure client access portal, and they see that 7 of those 10 accounts have been removed, right? So they
Right.
got 3 accounts left. Team is going to go in, they're going to notify the client that, hey, we're disputing these remaining 3. And you could expect results within, again, the next 45 days. No other company
Yep.
is doing that, right? They're just taking your money. They're saying, hey, sit back and
Yeah.
wait. Just,
We'll hear back from us in a couple of months.
yeah, check your credit karma, in 6 months.
Yeah. I mean, that was one of the best things I noticed, that I can just be there and sign in and see whatever you guys are doing. I don't have to call and
Right.
ask. You don't have to bother anybody. You don't have to wait for an email back. Transparency, I think, is huge with credit repair, especially. It's huge with any business you run, but people are very nervous about their credit. I mean, the biggest question I get is like, how do I know my social security number is secure? How do I know something won't happen to my credit? And I'm like, listen, we're in the business to help you improve your credit. We're not here to destroy your credit. That would not give us great reviews on Google. So
Right.
we're here to help you and fix your credit and get you out of the hole. Like you've already put yourself in the hole. So anything that happens worse from now is not really not going to help us or help you. So we're here to build your credit back, repair it, and get you moving forward from this point on. So your credit is secure. We don't ask for your whole social. I mean, I didn't give you my whole
No,
social.
yeah, we
So
only need the
we don't,
last four digits. Yeah.
right. So we don't need a whole social security number. And we're there to help you and protect you and teach you along the way. Like this is what, and when you log into your portal, you will see everything that's going on, fully going like transparent,
Yeah,
like when letters were sent, everything.
that's why, when we separate ourselves from other companies, right, is because we're not just trying to take your money and do the process for you. We're here to kind of teach you and guide you along the way because once this process is completed,
Yeah.
it's up to you to continue to stay on the right path, right? So if we let you know, hey, utilization makes up 30% of your credit score, right? So moving forward, try and keep your credit card balances below that 30%. People are like, oh wow, I didn't realize that. You know,
Yeah. Right.
a lot of individuals that come to us say, oh, I have nothing wrong with my credit. I have no derogatory accounts. But why did my score drop 30 points this month? Yeah. Oh, it's because their wife
Yeah.
went and took their credit card and spent it on Christmas, right? So now you just max out all your credit cards. It's going to drop
Yeah.
significantly, right? So a lot of people don't realize the breakdown of how a credit score works. You got utilization, you got late payments, right? You got a mixture of accounts, credit card
Yeah.
history. Um,
Yeah.
all that takes into account for what makes up your credit score,
Yeah.
and everything has to be
Yeah.
aligned.
Just this month, I mean, I was transparent with you guys about what my credit score was a couple months ago, and this month because I had actually zero balances on everything this month because I paid everything off on
Yeah,
time. Last month I was a little late on a couple of them, not late paying them, but I just didn't pay them by the due date. I didn't pay them off in full, so still had a little bit of balance, but I went up like almost 40
yeah,
points. So now I'm like in the high sevens
yeah.
now. So just from having a zero balance showing, the little things like that make a huge difference, especially the next subject we're talking about, about buying a home, which we're going to talk about in 1 second, how important credit is and how much a score can make a huge difference in your mortgage. So, but as far as hiring a credit repair company, one last thing, when you sign up with these companies, us or anyone else, is it important to uh, make sure that your credit's at a certain point? Like, do you just wait till things go to collections first? It's a question I get a lot too. Like, should we wait till they go to collections, or should they, like, if they know they're not going to pay them, or should they come to you guys before it gets worse, us first, or whatever you want to say? Like, should they wait till it gets really bad, then contact the credit repair company, or should they do it before it gets real bad?
It
Like,
depends
you know
on
what I mean?
everybody's situation. So if you already have negative items on your report, then yeah, you want to nip that in the bud, the sooner the better. So you're going to want to hire us,
Okay.
get those negative accounts off, and then meanwhile during the repair process, if any of those accounts that are positive now but may be negative in say 3 months from now, right, because you stop paying them,
Right,
then we'll go in and we'll remove those accounts as well. It's not like you're only hiring us for one or two accounts and then we remove
right,
those and then we say goodbye, right? We're
right.
gonna keep
We'll work on
we're
your
gonna
credit.
keep removing any negative accounts that we have until everything is complete.
Right. Yeah, I think a lot of people don't understand that. They think they're like, "Oh, I just want," because people always tell me, "I just want that removed," or "I don't want that one removed." I'm like, "No,
Yeah,
like
like okay,
anything that's
can
negative
I
is going to
pay
be
half price and only have half of my items removed? You shouldn't only want half of your items removed. That still doesn't really do much for you. You want everything off, or as much as everything that you can possibly get off. It's only going to put you in a better position moving forward for better funding, right? I just bought a car today. You know what interest rate I
yeah."
got opposed to the interest rate that I got the last time I purchased the car?
Actually, I didn't ask you. What did you? I didn't know you were financing it. What did you get?
Yeah, I financed a little. I put half down, but I financed the other
Yeah,
half, right? So they gave me a three
help your
percent
credit.
interest rate, right? So
Oh fuck.
not bad.
Yeah, that's really low
You
for
know
a
what the
used
interest rate that
car.
I got when I financed my last vehicle, like 5 years ago?
What was that?
Let me just say,
Jeans?
I had a Jeep Cherokee, right? I was paying $760 a month on it.
Oh my god, it's almost a Range Rover payment.
Yeah, do the math.
God, yeah, so much went to interest too. If you're making minimum, like the minimum payment every month on that, oh my god,
Right.
yeah.
So it's a bit.
And how many people can afford once they get into that car to pay, $200-300 more on top of that plus car
Right.
insurance, to avoid that? Like that, there's really no way
Yeah.
around it. So you're
So now I'm
yeah,
in a car that's probably almost double in value, right? And my payments are half.
yeah, that's and now your credit's gonna just fucking explode from that car loan too.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna because my cars were paid off. So now that I have another auto loan, that's why I only put half down, and I didn't buy it
Right,
out. I wanted to show a
right.
little bit of positive payment history, so I'll pay it over the course of a year, and then I'll,
Just so you avoid the interest.
if I want to sell it, I'll just buy it outright and sell it.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people don't realize how to use, like in this position. This is a good example because somebody that has a lot of money would probably just go to a car lot and buy the car outright and be like, here's a check or whatever. Here's a
Yeah, and
car,
I've had a
buy it.
lot of clients come to me and say, "Hey, what do you suggest I do?" I've always paid cash for all of my cars.
Yeah, it does nothing for
It
you
does
though.
nothing for their credit. It's
Yeah.
nice to have the cash available to do that, but it's not.
God forbid you have to go to credit for something,
Yeah,
you're not
why
going to
would
have
you
it.
want to? I
Yeah,
always advise everybody when they ask me this question, and this is exactly what I did. If you have the cash to buy the whole car, then put down half,
yeah.
right? So at least you're lowering your monthly payment substantially, right? Where you don't
You're
really,
not financing
where you
as
don't
much
really
money
feel
either.
it every month,
Yeah,
but you're still reporting positive payment history to all three bureaus.
yep,
So 12 months from now, you're just creating um, another line of credit, right? So when
yep,
lenders come see that and say you go to get another auto loan down the road, they're not
yep,
going to think twice about giving you another loan.
yeah. Yeah, another trade line of a paid off car
Yeah,
loan. That's what car companies
that
all
looks
look at. When I
beautiful.
sold cars, they would look at their previous car loans and leases if they paid on
I'm
time.
listen. We only send
I don't care about the credit card. I want to make sure they're paying their car. That's what car companies
we
do.
only sent this to one bank. I didn't even shop it around. I sent it to one bank. I said, let me see what they come back with.
Well, that's another thing too, knowing where you stand with your credit. So you went in there knowing Adam has, let's say, 800 credit score, right? Um, and you're like, hey, I want the top tier bank. I have tier one credit. Don't send my shit to fucking, these third world country banks to get me approved. I know where I'm at. Don't fuck my credit up by sending it to 20 banks. So
Right.
Adam's an experienced shopper going in there and buying, and this is how you guys should be too. Don't tell if you know your credit score, you know where you stand. Don't be a bullshitter and go in there and pretend you're an 800. Tell them, hey, this is what I got to work with. Be experienced. Go in there with knowledge, with the information you need. And he shopped it. He's like, I want the best interest rate. I know what I'm worth. I know what I should pay. And then he went in there and got the best deal instead of getting raped at a car dealer, which most people do because they're not experienced. They don't know what they're doing. They're getting banged over at interest rates.
Right.
Remember, guys, when car dealers, used car and new cars, they shop the rate. So let's say Adam went in there and bought a car and he didn't go in there and say, hey, I have top tier credit, I only sent it to one bank. And they sent it to five banks. They buy that interest rate at a lower rate than what they're giving it to you. And they make back end money on that. So though let's say the bank bought that for 5%, they're gonna charge you, they probably have like a 3 or 5 point spread. They can charge you 8% and they make 3% of interest on the back end of that car loan. And that's how they work. So they shop those rates before they give them to you, and they give you the best rate that they can make the most money on. It's not about you; it's about them. So Adam went there, was like, "Hey, no, I'm not paying more than this much. This is what I need to be at," and that's that. And they have to, if they want to sell, they have to amend to that. So most people don't know that though. They just think, oh, the car salesman's there for them. Like, never happen. Like the car lot's the worst place to get raped at as far as the sales go. And furniture stores are really bad too. But cars are definitely like the number one place people get banged over the head for interest rates.
Right.
Um, so you're happy with the new car? You're good?
Yeah, I love it.
You got a whole new life now,
Yeah,
dude.
that was the
Jesus.
only missing puzzle to the piece. You know what I mean?
The car,
The fucking
right?
car. I didn't want to get.
I think
too
What did you
crazy.
say?
People, suggesting like a G
I
wagon,
know. I saw your story. I was cracking up.
Lamborghini truck. I mean, yeah, maybe,
I know.
maybe,
I'm not. I don't care about cars like that anymore. I'm over that shit,
they're
dude.
fun to rent, but I mean,
I'm not driving that
I'm not
thing
trying to
anymore.
have a $4,000 a month car payment.
No, no, and that's another thing too. I think a lot of people don't realize, like, when you commit to that, that's it. You got that for as long as that fucking loan is for. So
Yeah,
things can happen in a minute. We can all lose whatever we have, and we got to be really careful when you extend yourself out like that.
yeah,
Those are not cheap payments for anybody. I don't care how much money you make.
yeah. They're not,
$2,000, $3,000 car payments, a lot of fucking money to
and
piss away
they
on a
can't
car you
be
drive.
your daily drivers. They got to be like a secondary car because even if you're leasing these cars, they only
You only
allow
got
you what?
miles,
Like if you lease a Urus,
10,000 maybe,
not even,
if that.
not even. I think it's
Yeah, probably like seven.
7,500. Yeah,
Yeah, they get 7,500. Yeah, I mean Range Rover is only 10. You got to pay extra for
yeah.
12,000. So it's crazy though.
That's
I
why when
mean,
you rent these
it's
cars, you know, like even down here in South Florida, if you're on, I know Turo doesn't really exist by you, right?
no Toro's not up here.
So any of these cars,
What do they give you? How many miles?
yeah, they give you like 50 miles a day.
Oh my god,
That's the max.
that's like literally a gym
It's a
trip.
gym trip. So like I've rented a Lamborghini plenty of times, and you're only allotted 50 miles a day, and then any mile over 50 miles is like $1 a mile.
Yeah, it's fucking
But
insane,
that's how
dude.
they make a killing. And a lot of people, don't get me wrong, a lot of people make money off of their exotics. So they'll buy an exotic car, put it on
Yeah,
Toro, right? Say even if their payments are 4,000 a month,
yeah,
a Lamborghini truck, a Urus gets $1,200 per day, right?
right.
So even if it's only
You make
rented,
your payment.
3 days, 4 days out of the month, now you basically got a free Lamborghini, right? So
Yep.
it can make sense mathematically if you're smart. It's kind of just like Airbnb. If you put a
I wish that was around when I had a bunch of cars, man.
Yeah,
Fuck.
I might even put the Porsche on Toro. I don't know. I'm thinking about it. They have a really good coverage. Toro has an excellent liability coverage where they cover completely
God forbid.
100%. If the person takes it and wraps it around a tree, you're covered. Through their own insurance.
I got in trouble for that like years ago, like 10 plus years ago when I was selling cars. And supposedly it wasn't legal then, but
Yeah.
whatever. But now you're allowed to fucking do whatever the fuck you want with these things, dude.
Yeah,
It's
it's
crazy.
it's wild, and like the whole way that Turo is set up. Like every time I run one off a Turo, last time I was down here, before I moved into my house, I had Turo a Range Rover, and the guy brings it
Right.
right to my house. He'll drop it off.
It's fucking
Yeah,
awesome,
he
dude.
came with his girl. His girl followed him in her car. He dropped the Range Rover off in my driveway, handed me the keys,
Should see
and he
you.
hopped in his girl's car and they drove off. That was it. And I was paying
Fuck.
him like maybe what, $350, $400 a day to use his Range Rover. And that was his payments
Great.
on his Range Rover are probably maybe about $1,000 a month, right?
Yeah, 1,000
And
a
I
month,
rented
bro.
it for like 3 or 4 days. So just for me renting it for a weekend, paid for his monthly payment. So now he's driving
Yeah.
around in a pretty much brand new Range Rover Sport. You know, it was the V. It was the V. It's the
That
V8
was a
supercharged.
supercharged one. Yeah, yeah.
And
That's a fun truck.
yeah, that shit was fast.
That thing moves for a
But
camper.
even if he only rents it out 2 weekends out of the year, now he drives around a free Range over the rest of the time, and he profits. Maybe $1,000 a month from it. You're not going to become
Yeah,
rich, but you're getting a free car at
yeah.
the very least.
Those little things add up real fast,
You do the same thing
real
with
fast.
Airbnb, and a lot of people don't even know this. You don't even have to own the property to Airbnb it. What a lot of people are
No,
doing is they're renting these condos as apartments or townhouses in heavily trafficked tourist areas like down in Miami, South Beach, and they're throwing
no,
it up on Airbnb, and they're making a
yeah,
killing. So they're paying maybe $2,000 a month in rent, right? But they're making $10,000, $15,000 a month just from Airbnb it out.
I have a friend that's been doing that for a long time,
Yeah,
bro. He makes
yeah. There's a lot of
really good
there's a
money
lot of
doing
ways.
fucking
You
Airbnb.
don't have to own the property. you just
No.
gotta. It's kind of
Some landlords are smarter now. They're putting things in the
right.
contract saying stuff, but like they're never gonna know though.
No, if you have a good
In these high rises, they'll never
if
know.
you have a good property manager, basically
Yeah.
overseas, because everything can go wrong. Last time I Airbnb beat a house down in Hollywood, Florida, right? Like last month,
Right.
it was like Halloween time, right?
Right.
Um, one of my daughters put like a baby wipe in the toilet and flushed it, and it got clogged. And all of a sudden, the entire toilet started to overflow, but it kept going. Like
Oh
I couldn't get
no.
it to stop, and it just flooded the entire first floor of the house.
Oh no.
And you remember the house that I posted on Instagram?
Yeah,
The
I
house was
remember it.
dope. It was like 3 levels,
Yeah, that was a real nice
but the
house.
entire first floor, all marble flooring, the whole marble flooring was covered in toilet water. And I couldn't get a hold of the Airbnb host, because it's
Oh
ran by
geez.
a company. It's a property manager. So
Yeah.
I was like, it's an emergency. I need plumbers here. I need cleaners here. I need a whole staff to come ASAP.
Right.
And they sent a whole team in the morning, but the entire night I had to like put towels down. I had to shut the water off. It
Oh
wasn't like an
jeez.
individual person that I would pick up the phone and say, hey, your house is
Yeah.
underwater. You should probably,
There's shit floating on your
there's
first
yeah,
floor.
literally shit water everywhere. And then not to, to make it even worse, my other daughter is
Oh.
running from the kitchen, right? She doesn't know that the entire first floor was flooded. She's running from the kitchen past the couch, slips on the toilet water, and her legs go up in the air like 90 degrees, and she comes
Oh.
laying down right on top of her head. So now she's crying
Oh.
because she's laying in shit water. The other one is crying because she clogged the toilet and ruined the house, right?
All you're thinking about is how much money it's going to cost
I'm
you.
like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. I need a plumber. Nobody's answering the phone.
That's so crazy though. They're not even there to help you at least, and
Nobody was
they're
there.
that's
I
their
couldn't
job
even get
as
a
a property
hold.
manager.
I was trying to, you can go onto the Airbnb app and try and message the
Yeah, they have
host.
that thing.
Nobody was writing me back. So it's all ran by a management company. It's not like an individual
Yeah.
landlord that you have that owns the house. Because what these people do is that have Airbnbs, they have multiple Airbnbs,
Yeah.
multiple properties that they Airbnb out, or I should say,
Yeah.
right? So it's
There's
not.
this cleaning staff. They
They
have
have
the
a
property
cleaning staff
manager.
that comes in. You get
Yeah.
charged for that. Like every time you rent an Airbnb, they're going to charge you like $700, depending on the size of
Yeah.
the house. But every time I've gotten an Airbnb, it was always a substantial, extravagant house. Like 8 bedrooms,
Yeah.
whatever.
You're
A
buying.
group of
Yeah.
us
Right.
went.
You're buying.
So I've always got charged like $700 just for a cleaning fee. And then you got
Yeah.
Airbnb fees, and you got taxes, and you got these fees, and it just it goes from being
Yeah.
like a $400 or $500 a night house to $1,000 a night house.
Yeah. They bang you over the head with the fees though. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I remember in the beginning though, Airbnb wasn't like that though. They weren't letting you do that,
No.
and they were like holding people back from that, and then people were getting in trouble for it, and then they were like, "Fuck it."
Yeah.
It's just like, and I think New York had some law they had to pass for it or something was going on. I
I
remember
mean,
at the
what
time.
people have been doing, like the first house that I rented ever in Miami, I found off of Airbnb, and then when I became friendly with the host, and she was
Oh
basically
yeah,
the property manager, right? And she managed like 12 different like mansions they were in Miami, and she's like,
right.
whenever you want to come back down, call my cell phone directly. Don't go through Airbnb. That way, you know what I mean? That way you don't got to pay those fees, and
Oh
then we could
Jesus.
just.
Yeah.
I basically just every time I came down, I would just Zelle her the payment for the house directly. I wouldn't have to go
Right.
through Airbnb. And
Right.
people are doing it on Turo too. Like a couple of months ago when I rented an X6, the guy hit me up on the side. He texted me and he said, "Listen, cancel your reservation off of Turo and just cash at me, the payment because Turo takes a crazy percentage. They take like
Right.
whatever the percentage
Yeah.
is. I don't know."
I'm sure for like the insurance and everything else or
Right. So he's
whatever.
like,
And
just pay me out of pocket. That can be dangerous though, because now you're paying somebody on the side, but you're not covered.
right.
At least Toro
Right.
covers you, right?
Right.
I'm sure.
God forbid you take that car and run away or
Yeah, I'm
something.
sure Airbnb has insurance policies too. So if you're paying people on the side, and that person fucks
Yeah.
your house up, it's on it's on you.
But you get a loyal person that comes to you
Yeah, that's
multiple
why
times
they
like that.
probably let you book it through Airbnb first and see how what type of
Yeah,
client
if you're
you are.
trustworthy.
We've
Yeah.
always been respectful, and we always cleaned up after ourselves, and we weren't throwing parties, and
They were just calm
they
parties.
were very calm parties, parties that weren't broken up by the police, right?
Yeah. With social distancing.
Yeah, a lot of social distancing. Yeah.
um, let's just talk about. I got a lot of people want to wonder about how to go about getting the best interest rate for a mortgage with their credit. What are things they should do to prepare before they apply for a mortgage with their credit?
Right.
I just want to talk about this for a little bit. Obviously, we're gonna do more videos on it, but what are some of the things that you would pay attention to right away if you're gonna go, let's say, buy a home? Maybe first time buyer, maybe you're not a first time buyer. The basic things, obviously, you got to have a job. You got to have proof of income, most likely. If you're not, I think they ask for STIPs no matter what now for a mortgage. Like, is it always now, or is it over 700? Do they still?
It depends. There's a couple different uh, ways that you can go about it. Um, so basically, obviously they're gonna, the main application process is where they check, uh, you know, tax returns, right?
Yeah,
W-2s, W-9s, usually going back 3 years.
yeah,
That's the most common. Um,
DTI,
what they
yeah,
look for is your
okay,
DTI, your debt to income ratio.
yep,
So you want to make sure that your debt is as low as possible so you get approved for as much as an amount from the bank as you possibly can get. So if you're looking at a house that's $500,000 and based off of your yearly salary, you're only approved for say 300,000, right? Or
sure,
400,000. You
right,
want to make sure you're able to acquire as much of the amount of that loan as possible. Now, if you have a brand new car loan that you just took out that's $60,000, or maybe multiple cars, and you have multiple credit cards that are maxed out, you have multiple personal loans that are fairly new, that aren't really paid off yet, they're going to look at you
hmm,
as a risk. You
yep,
have too much debt based on your income. So if you're
yep,
showing X amount of debt per month, and your income is only X amount of money per year, they're going to say, "Well, how are you going to afford this mortgage?" Right? Because you got all these bills that are piling up every month
yep,
that you got to pay for, and then if we tackle on a mortgage payment of a few $1,000s, $3,000, right? How are you going to afford that?
yep,
So they're not going to approve you for a large amount. They're going to say, "Listen, instead of this $500,000 house, let's look at something around 300,000. We'll approve you
yep,
for 300. That way, your mortgage payment is maybe now around 200,000 or
yep,
1,500, right?
yep,
1,500 or 2,000, right?
2000,
Yeah,
yep.
I said 200. So,
That's understood.
um, I suggest to everybody, whatever debt you have, make sure you pay it off before you even start the application process. If you're in the position to buy out your cars, buy them out. If you're in the position to pay off all your credit cards, pay them off.
Yep,
Then submit your application, right? Because
yep,
you want to be able to get as much money from the bank as possible.
yep,
What they also do is, right, if you are a business owner, right, or a fairly new business owner, and you don't have tax returns to provide, right? Because I was in this position when I was looking to buy a house here in Florida. I said,
yep,
"Listen, obviously I was coming from New York City, right? As a correction officer, and I was making good money, so, 6-figure salary, but they weren't able to base my New York City salary off of a property in Florida, right? Because that doesn't make sense. So they're saying, how are you going to live in a primary residence in Florida
oh, when you had the
and you
job.
have a job in New York City,
Mm,
right? So they're
yep,
not going to be able to use that salary. The only way they'd be able to
interesting.
use that if you tell them that it's an investment property and you're not going to be living there as a primary residence, which is fine.
Gotcha.
But now an investment property, I'm sure there's an investment property. Now your interest rates are not going to be prime,
Yep,
right? Your interest rates are going
yep,
to be higher, and your LTV is going to be higher,
yep.
right?
DTI.
DTI. Why I keep saying
Maybe there is something LTV that we
that. I
don't
don't know.
know.
If it's not, I'm going to make a T-shirt line about it, or something, right? So your DTI is
uh,
going to be, your debt is going to be higher, right? So, um, what they have this option is called It's called bank statement mortgage loans. And what they do is they basically base your approval off of um, a couple of years worth of bank statements. So if you're showing, this might even work benefit for you, when you decide to move here next
Yeah.
month,
Yeah. Next week.
next week, you have a substantial amount of income coming into your bank accounts every month, right? So you could say, hey, listen, I might not have the history, because you have a fairly new business as well, right?
Yep.
You say, listen, I might not have the history with tax returns, but I have a good history of bank statements
Yep.
showing that I have substantial money flow coming in my account on a monthly basis, right?
Yep.
You're always
Consistent.
positive. Your accounts are never negative. I'm sure you have, tons of money flowing in and minimal money coming out. The only money that's coming out is obviously paying for bills, right? But
Right.
you're always in the green.
Yep.
They're going to base that approval off of, I don't know what the formula is. It's probably easy to look up on Google, but whatever, they're going to base a formula off of your monthly income,
Right.
and they're going to base that approval on that. And again, obviously your interest rates are going to be higher than prime lending, but if that's your only option, it's not a bad option. I mean, how much higher can they really be? Maybe prime
Right.
lending is what, 3% right now for
Yeah.
mortgage rates, right?
Probably. Yeah. High twos,
High
low
two, low
threes.
threes. So you're talking maybe about a jump, a point or two
Point,
jump.
point or
Yeah.
two.
So now maybe looking around maybe 4%. Not terrible.
Now, when people go apply for mortgage as a first time buyer, um, is there still like good offers and specials at being a first time buyer in this world, or is that all gone
Yeah,
now? I
you
don't even
got
know.
you got you got your first time home buying
Credit,
program, right? So
yeah,
um
tax credits.
yeah, so basically you're able,
Florida offer Does Florida have other offers as
I'm not
well
sure. I
to buy
haven't
a
really
home here?
dug too deep into it because I haven't really been in the market that long. Probably,
I know they like you to start businesses there. I know that.
yeah,
I know they offer a lot of
for sure.
incentives for that.
Um,
Uh,
but basically your down payment. So like primarily as a first time home buyer, right? Um,
ten
you're only
percent.
required to put down, I believe it's 3%, 3 or 5%.
Oh, 3%. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it might be five, but it might even be three. It's either 3 or 5.
Okay.
So say it's 5% as a first time home buyer, which a lot of first time home buyers, they're usually young individuals who might not have a lot of money saved up, right? But they want to start their life in a new home, and that
Right.
fits them perfect, right? So a lot of people can swing maybe 5 grand, 10 grand to put down, Um, and what they're doing for a
Absolutely.
lot of first time home buyers, they're also like trying to work, the closing costs into the loan so they don't have to come out of pocket for closing costs. Because closing costs
Right.
are probably another $10,000, $20,000 as well
I'm
that
gonna
people don't
say
realize.
easily
Yeah, so people are like, oh, I'm gonna put down, $50,000.
that.
Yeah, well, be prepared to have at least $70,000 liquid.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You know, so
It's crazy.
um, you, if I can give any suggestion, just put down as much. I was gonna say put down as much muscle as possible.
We
The problem is I keep looking at myself in the screen and it just
can do a bodybuilding
keeps saying
podcast
muscle.
now. Transition right into it.
Put down as much money as you feasibly can. It's only going to help
Yeah.
you in the long run.
Right.
Obviously, if you could put down at least 20%, um, you could avoid, taxes, things like that. Um, you avoid having to pay a substantial mortgage payment, right? And you
Yep.
build equity in a home, right? So
Yep.
if you're looking at a home that's $300,000 and you're able to put down 100, you put a third of the cost. Now you have $100,000.
Maybe you're trying to say maybe you're trying to say ATV before, right? Isn't that what it is? Actual ARV, actual retail
Yeah,
value. Is that
ARV.
what
Well,
that is?
that's the value of the home, right?
But, yeah. So if you have equity in it,
So
that's
if you have equity in it, wouldn't that be the smart decision to do? Now you say you live in the home for 2 years, the value goes up another $20,000, $30,000, right? Now you have $130,000 in equity in the house. You can either pull that money out and then reinvest it into another property and use it as a rental, right? Or you could, flip it, move out, quickly flip it, and put it into something else. That's how you build your portfolio,
Yeah.
right? You start with one, you accumulate equity, you pull the equity out, and you put it into something else. You build equity with that, you pull it out, you put it into something else, and you just keep going down the line.
Yeah, that's how you build generational wealth for yourself, long-term wealth. You can't do that. People don't realize, like, you can't just have a job and do one job. Like, there's got to be things going on behind the scenes, and that's another reason why I wanted to talk about getting your first home or just buying a home. There's so many opportunities with it when you really look at it.
Oh,
Just like what Adam said.
yep.
Um, you want to say something else?
Um, no, I mean, it's a lot of knowledge that people don't really understand how this all works.
Yeah.
Because maybe
Too many people. Yeah, go
maybe
ahead.
they're just not at this stage in their life, so they don't really care about it. They don't, they need to know about it, and that's cool. I didn't really know too much about the home buying process, until it came down to actually looking to buy a home. Right? That makes
Right.
sense. So um, it's just knowledge that people aren't really aware of, because they haven't done it yet firsthand.
Yeah.
Um, but once you could add multiple properties, in your portfolio, whether you use them as rentals um, or as flips, the flipping market right now, depending where you're at, might be a little sketchy, right?
Yeah, it is.
Things are, maybe holding for a little longer than normal. Um, Obviously, depending on your area, of course.
Yeah. Jersey, New York's a mess. So,
Yeah, I'm telling you, everybody's moving out of the tri-state area, and
yeah.
I only see, that everybody's saying the housing market is going to drop. Wait for the prices to drop. Don't buy yet. Wait for it to drop. But areas like Florida, I don't think it's going to drop
No.
because
No.
everybody is moving here. And when I say when I was looking for a house down here, every property that I saw that I liked was gone within 24 hours.
Yeah. I'm sure it's probably insane down there. Insane.
And you
And
got to
everyone's leaving the
give
West
crazy
Coast.
offers just to even solidify it. You got to lock yourself in.
You got to literally just buy on site rent it or buy it
Yeah,
site
that's why I
unseen.
did.
You can't.
I had to get into my house without even coming down here. It was literally through
Yeah.
my realtor FaceTimed me, right? And walked around the house and said, "Hey, you like it?" I said, "Yeah, I love it. Let's get it." You know,
Perfect.
she's like, "Perfect. Send me a wire in the morning." And that was
Jesus
really what
Christ.
happened. I literally had to send her a wire the next day. I locked it in, signed it, moved in, a couple months later.
Fucking crazy, dude. I think a lot of people don't come to the table when they go for their first home buying experience, or maybe don't even know this in their second time or third time. But like you said earlier, they don't have their credit situated first. So they go to the table and they approach the mortgage broker with, so-so credit, but they make good money. They have equity in the bank, and they go to the table with a lot of credit card balances, with a high, big credit car loans. They maybe have personal loans, and they have all these debt to their name. And you're going to get whacked over your head if you go for a mortgage with that type of credit score. I mean, we're talking, a few points could really change your mortgage at the end of the day, right? I mean, if you're like a tier 2 or 3 or maybe 4, most people are like 3, 4, I'd probably say, right? Um, you're not gonna get the best rate at all. I mean, obviously you can refinance it down the road, but you want to go in there with a good mortgage payment. You don't want to get whacked over the head with interest.
Right.
So like these little things could just adjusting your credit, moving money around, consolidating it, paying some things off, minimizing the debt before you go apply for a mortgage will really help you, and it'll put you in control of buying the home instead of them banging you over the head with interest and cornering you into homes that you don't want. Putting a spending limit on how much money you can spend on a home. Like, you want to be able to have the freedom to choose what you want too when you go buy a home. You don't want them to be like, oh no, you can only spend $350 and that's it. You want to be able to go there and be like, no, I want this interest rate. I want to pick the home I want. And like, you don't want to be controlled because I know what it's like to go to either buy a car, buy a home, and they just bully you around because they see you as like almost like a juicy steak for a dog. You know, like
You
they're
want
like,
to
oh, we can make
you're
so much
absolutely
money.
right. You're absolutely right. You want to be in the position where you're in control, right? You could literally walk into any car dealership, right? If you have at least a 700 credit score, you're telling them what you're going to pay.
You demand.
Literally, you're telling them, listen, I want this
Yeah.
car, but
Hmm.
I don't want my payments.
And they'll do it too. They'll do it. I did it when I was a car salesman. That guy walked in with good credit. I catered to that guy. You know,
And then what
he
happens?
wasn't leaving without a car.
You walk into a car dealership with a 500 credit score, right? They won't even
Yeah.
let you test drive a car with a 500 credit score.
They don't even look at you. They don't even
500.
care.
You
Yeah,
gotta
but like
walk home.
as a salesman, there's nothing they can do though. They can't get you approved unless you got crazy money down or something.
No,
You
if they
know?
are getting you approved, you better believe you're paying 20% interest.
Yeah, easily.
You
Yeah.
know, and that doesn't make sense. So this takes us back before we wrap this up. But this takes us back to the beginning where people were hesitant of paying for credit repair. So think of it like this: we're charging you $1,000, right, to clean your credit. But
Hmm.
yet, if you have fucked up credit and you went into a dealership, right, and they slapped you with a 8, 10, 15, 20% interest rate on a car, how much more money do you think you're paying for that vehicle with bad credit and that high interest rate rather than having top tier credit?
Yeah. Literally you're throwing thousands of dollars away.
It's a huge difference. So today when I walk, I'm
Nobody
giving you this example
knows.
because it's fresh, right? So the guy brought it was like a table chart piece of paper. And he said, these are what your, this was before they sent the info to the bank, right? This is what your projected payments are going to be based upon the amount of money that you're putting down on this
Right.
vehicle, right? And he broke it down. He said, listen, if you're in this category of credit, your payments are going to be anywhere from $400 to $500,
Right.
or $400 to $600, depending on a few things, right? Because my
Right.
payments are like low 500s.
Right.
So anywhere in that category, right? And he said, and if you're in this category, which was a step down with credit, now you're paying anywhere from high fives to low eights, high sevens,
Right.
right? Then you're in the bottom tier category, and this probably acutes for everybody that's in the 500s to anywhere from 5 to 650.
Yeah.
That tier credit, the payments were like almost $1,000 a month, right?
God.
So think about that. Your person in my shoes coming to buy the same exact vehicle would drive out of there paying $1,000 a month, and I'm only paying 500.
Yeah. You're saving 500 right there
Now do
a
the
month.
math, right? Let's do this real quick, right? They're paying
Yeah.
an extra $500 a month to
Yeah.
the term of of the
The
loan, which is
car.
what, 60 months, right?
Yeah, probably 65 years.
So
Yeah.
they're paying $30,000 more than I would.
Yeah. It's fucking nuts. It's a whole car. A couple cars.
But you don't want to pay $1,000 for credit repair.
Yeah. And then we're not trying to sell you on it. It's literally just facts. This is just
And this
facts.
doesn't just go for cars, right? This goes for mortgages. This goes for
Anything.
lines of credit, personal credit, business loans.
Yeah.
You know, why pay the high interest? Just fix your credit.
Yeah.
And then
You get
let us educate you on the repair process. So as it's getting repaired, as the repair process is complete, you at least know what to do to stay on the right track. Keep your utilization low. Make your payments on time, right? Keep your inquiries down. Those things are going to save you a ton of money.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, there's a lot of little things we can like. Let's say even if we'll talk about this in another video, but like you're talking about the inquiries, like just removing inquiries if you have great credit will boost you a traumatic amount
Right,
of
and that's
points.
why we have the inquiry removal package for people who have,
Right.
for example, the other day, right? You saw the post I made with Ben Bowler, right? Anybody knows who Ben Bowler is. He's a famous celebrity jeweler. That's how he started out, right?
Yep.
That's saying that everybody says, Ben did the chain. He's famous for, notorious for making tons of celebrity jewelry. So
Yep.
he's been a huge supporter of ours. He's been posting about us. He's used our services. Ben has a black card. He has a few black cards at American Express. Um, he's got an 805 credit score, but he's got a shit ton of inquiries. Because he has a lot of cars, right?
Right.
So he's got a McLaren. He's got a few Porsches. And I'm sure he's got a few family cars too that he doesn't post about. So you got to understand that he's probably got his credit pulled, from over a dozen banks just by getting, even if he only has 4 cars, right? He might even have more.
Yeah.
He's gotten his credit pulled probably at least 20 or 30 times for those 4 cars.
Yeah.
He's got good credit because obviously, he has high lines of credit, high accounts, and they're probably all paid down, right? He doesn't really show a balance. He just pays it off.
Yeah.
And he has a long history of credit. He's older. So we signed up for our inquiry removal program, and we were able to remove all his inquiries. So that's somebody that would be, a prime candidate for our inquiry removal. They have perfect credit, great credit. They just have a lot of inquiries.
Right.
Right?
What did he shoot up to? Over 800? Like
Yeah, so
850?
his basic idea was say, listen, I have an 800, but I want an 850. That was really the only thing that was holding him back. He
Right.
has multiple properties, real estate, multiple cars, right, and multiple credit cards. He's got the mixture of credit that's needed for a perfect credit score, but he had a shit ton of inquiries, and inquiries
Right.
remain on your credit for 2 years. So
I didn't even know it was 2 years.
yeah, it's 2 years. So even if you go like the inquiries that I got today from the bank, it's got to remain on my credit if I don't remove it for 2 years, and then after 2 years they fall off, right?
Right.
You can accumulate a lot of inquiries, hard inquiries, within a 2-year period.
Yeah.
You might want to.
Yeah.
You might be at Best Buy, and the guy tries to sell you on a credit card for the new TV you want. Boom, that's an inquiry. You don't even realize it, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be for auto loan, something big. It could be for something minor.
Yeah.
So just be cognizant of that. But
I think that was good though.
we're about to wrap this up, man. It's been a little over an hour. Everybody's sleeping.
You're doing the gym thing in the morning though.
Yeah, I've been getting up at 5:30, 6 o'clock every morning, trying to get it out of the way.
You still feel strong in the morning though? Like you feel energized?
Yeah, I'm just used to it. And I train on an empty stomach, and I might have a meal before I go to bed, but I feel good. I drink
That's good that you're.
a little.
How many days a week are you going?
Try and go like 5.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I'll usually come home, and then I'll like walk the dog for like an hour around the block, around the neighborhood. We can do that here, in December, walk the dog outside.
Yeah. My dog's got like 2 months out of the year to go outside.
Even at 8 o'clock in the morning when I get home, it's, like 70.
Oh,
Right.
God, dude.
So
It's
I
terrible.
do that, walk the dog, that's my cardio, have breakfast, shower, and go to work.
Put some shorts on and t-shirt,
Some
and you're good to
shorts
go.
on, t-shirt.
You gotta get rid of all your sweatshirts and shit now, and
I know.
fucking
And
pants.
I went into Dick's yesterday and I bought like 4 Nike and Adidas hoodies. I don't even know why. I keep buying hoodies.
You miss sweatshirts though. When I lived out west and stuff, and I lived in Florida at one point, you miss sweatshirts.
I still wear them. Like
It's
I have
weird.
my AC blasting right now in the house, and I'll wear hoodies in the house all the time.
Yeah. I missed winter clothes though when I was living in warm weather. For a
Yeah,
while.
I'll
It was
still wear
weird.
hoodies all year round. Outside obviously you're gonna die, but when I'm
Yeah, but the gyms though, I never wear like tank tops in the gym. I'm always like
Yeah.
got something on. I never trained like in the tank top thing. I never did that thing.
no,
Uh,
I don't remember the
unless
last
it
time
was
I
for
did.
purpose.
I mean,
But
maybe when I was really young, I had the I remember
yeah, maybe when I was like a baby, I like to be a cocky dick in the gym, but there's no point wearing a
I had a
tank top.
few of those NPC
Oh
tank
God.
tops.
Oh God. They're still around too, man. The same style.
I,
They haven't even changed them.
I had a bunch of those.
It's fucking ridiculous. Same weird looking shit. Ugh.
Used,
Real thick.
used to think you were the man, yeah.
It's horrible.
Crazy.
All right. let me just wrap this up, guys. If you guys are looking for the full credit removal, we have a discount right now and 60% off. If you go to Nick True Credit and sign up, you guys can DM us. You can ask us anywhere you need, have any questions about it. Both of our Instagrams are listed on here. You guys can see them. Feel free to bother us whenever you have any questions about anything. And
I also
that's that for this
I
one.
also want to add real quick.
Go ahead.
They have to go through you directly, but what we're going to offer for our listeners for Nick is we're going to offer payment plans. If you don't have the $1,000, right, that's 60% off up front. What we're going to offer for our listeners is 4 payments of $300 for the full complete credit wipe. Okay. But what you have to do is you have to directly message Nick and he'll send you a direct link for this payment plan process because we're not offering this to everybody, right? So if you want to
Awesome.
you want to save yourself $200, it's only $1,000 and you could sign up directly through Nick True Credit. But if
Yep.
you wanted the payment plan, those 4 payments of $300 does come out to $1,200. So you are paying a little bit more, but it does spread out your payments at least, and you're still getting the same service, same exact service,
Right.
right? I want to make
Right.
that clear. It's the same,
That's a good thing. People always
it's
ask
the
that.
same service. So a lot of people are interested. They don't have the $1,000. That's okay. We'll do the payment plans for you, but we don't have the website set up for you because this is brand new that we're just offering to our listeners. So all you got to do is hit up Nick directly, and he'll send you a link, and we'll get you started for only $300.
That's awesome. That's a good deal. So, guys, hit me up either on Nick World Class or Nick True Credit. Doesn't matter, and we'll take care of it. No problem. So, all right, guys, that wraps up this episode. We appreciate you guys listening, and we'll be back next week.
Let's go.
Peace out.